Doesn't this help Gavin Newsom in the sense that he is now being sort of anointed by the media as the leader of the Democratic resistance?
I think it helps Gavin Newsom in Gavin Newsom's mind. I think the problem...
the reality check.
Yeah. I think the problem Gavin Newsom has is he believes America should look more like California. And most Americans do not believe that America should look more like California. And what I would point to is Californians, by and large, and I know you grew up in Sacramento, have been voting with their own feet. 1850, I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, was when California became a state. Population increased there every single year from 1850 to 2020, when suddenly, under Gavin Newsom's tenure, the population began to decline. Gavin Newsom's own in-laws, they moved to Florida to live with Governor Ron DeSantis. And I think, look, California was, when I was growing up, it was a aspirational place to go.
All right, well, you're going broader here.
Yeah, but I think the problem that he's got is he still thinks he's selling California in the 1980s, and California in the 2020s is not that. And I think as a result, he is not making himself more of a national figure. He's just reiterating the larger problems.
It was a hectic weekend this weekend. I know we got stuff going on with Israel and Iran, multiple trades of attack going back and forth. It was a crazy Father's Day, guys. And happy Father's Day. Late. I know it's late. I know I haven't really been posting, but I've been spending time with my own kids, and I feel grateful every day that I am a father to them. But I hope you guys had a wonderful Father's Day. I hope the weekend wasn't too chaotic for all of us. But it's Monday. Time to go over the news. And one thing I want to kind of focus on is that Democrats in general, the politicians, their voters, people who, I don't know, work and organize for them, they have this problem. And this is why I led up with this intro. It's not only a Gavin Newsom problem. I think it's a Democrat as a whole problem. All these Democrats think that the entire country wants to be like them. And anytime anytime an inconvenient fact arises, they choose to ignore it. They sitting here protest no kings, and the United States of America has not had a king since July 4th, 1776, or even earlier than that, some would say. And this no kings protest is kind of backfiring on them because a lot of people are starting to recognize a lot of these protesters, none of them look younger than 60 years old. And I think this is one of the biggest problems with the Democratic Party is that, in a way, this is why I kind of feel confident about making my predictions about how Democrats may not be politically relevant in a couple of years, is because they have nothing to really offer the American people, right? At least if you're under the age of 30, right? Even if you're in your 40s. Everyone sees how Democratic policies make life harder for every individual. You see LA, all you have to do is look at the riots, then the assassinations that happened over the weekend of 2 Democratic lawmakers, and the No Kings protest has been surrounding this political violence. And the funny part is, these same people will cry about how Trump supporters are violent. Trump supporters won't condemn this. But every video I've seen, every conservatives are concerned about political violence. And that how the left kind of just makes room for it with the killing of the healthcare CEO. Conservatives came out and condemned that, and that wasn't politically. It wasn't politically motivated, but the guy was an extreme leftist. He took a life of a guy that was working at a company because he had a problem with the system. Did that death change anything, leftists? No, it didn't. And these are the only individuals that praise hit jobs like this. And there's a suspect already listed. Right. And I want to go more over it because this whole thing surrounding the No Kings protest versus the military parade celebrating the 250th birthday of the creation of the U.S. Army, it's night and day difference. And the fact that the left has the goal to make this projection, these claims about political violence, it honestly is asinine to me. But again, I'm going to show you some clips of Democrats saying things that can be misconstrued into calling for violence. But I digress. Let's take a look at the clip.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
There needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful. Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized right up to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face. And
Yeah, I don't want to keep going over, past statements that the Democrats have said, but it's just a different contrast, right? They not protesting no kings. They're just protesting Donald Trump, right? Donald Trump is the president of the United States, commander-in-chief of the U.S. Army and all the military apparatus and national security of the country for 4 years. But because he's using because Donald Trump was elected into president of the United States, and then he used his position as the United States president to mobilize the National Guard, the leftists are calling Donald Trump a king. Make that make sense. And it backfired on them. Trump put out an ex post pretty much thanking the protesters, said, "Ooh, I got scared I was going to be replaced," essentially mocking them. And here's some videos, some clips I saw of the parade. And the parade, I think it was a smashing success. And I think I was always so surprised that in June, right, instead of doing pride parades, why we don't do stuff like this that the whole nation can really get behind, because the whole nation is tied to the interest of the U.S. Army being strong, defending our freedoms, and they deserve respect. They just like the Army. I always thought of it was weird that every country have military parades and praise their military, honor their military, respect their military. And if you look at the Biden administration, I don't remember the last time. I don't think I was ever born seeing a military parade before, showing the strength of the U.S. Army, the respect. Like, end of the day, what you don't bring attention to is what you don't respect or honor. Or I always hear politicians talking about how they care about veterans, they respect our military. But what Trump is doing, it's pushing contrast that I don't only respect my military, I honor them and I give them praise. Essentially, I think that's what many Army vets feel. And I think this was a great turnout. I think this was a great contrast to the no protest, the no kings protest segment that was going on, because that stuff turned violent. There was an active shooting event that happened during the no kings protest, even though Minnesota police officials told them not to gather. They still gathered anyway, and then had an active shooting situation. I'll get more into that later, but I wanted to show you a few clips of the Army parade. And there was a nice touch where Trump personally swore in a couple of U.S. cadets into becoming part of the U.S. Army. And this unhingedness from the left, right? It's baffling to me. Why are only elders protesting? Tap sign. Boomers and early generation finished brain development before the internet. They only learned to trust authority and never built an estimated model for the digital age. That's why they're so vulnerable to propaganda. And the data shows this too, that the majority of people who watch news and get their news from the television are on average older. Most are unfit for a world of infinite information. Only their deaths will end compliance culture. Incredible shots of no kings protest in Pittsburgh. The average age in this crowd can't be younger than 60. And you'll see it in a video I have to show you. But I want to talk more about the suspect that got caught. Essentially, like he's been caught. So this is apparently the guy. I don't know. This guy wore a latex over his face, so you can't really tell who he is. But people are he's been named as a suspect. Nightmare on Wall Street. Mike Lee said this. And now he's facing calls for a controversial post on Minnesota shooting. Don't care about the political affiliation, but I just wanted you to know this. And I think the biggest kind of contrast to what's going on with the No Kings protest is that it's only about Trump. And many people believe that is the biggest problem with the Democratic Party. The No Kings protest was a political disaster for Democrats. They are a sign that yet again, Democrat Party leadership has no idea what they're doing. Events like this are attended primarily by the hardened party members. That is a problem because These members of the party turn off the moderates of the electorate, and those people make up the majority of the American voter. When activists organize an event like No Kings, they're activating the fringe elements to show up, and that's exactly what happened, right? Even with the suspected killer of the two Democratic lawmakers, she signed something where she denied health care for illegals, and many people are attributing to this is maybe factor of why she got assassinated, essentially. And many people say from her tonality, she sounded scared. She sounded nervous. Melissa Hartman sounded absolutely terrified while speaking to the media after she voted no for illegals. She was just assassinated this morning. She knew she knew she'll end up a target in one form or another. And this is why a lot of people say that, hey, the Democrats are scared of their own base. And I don't think it's surprising to many people, and it's only surprising to the left because they put themselves in an information bubble, right? If you say something a certain way, if you speak too harshly, Democrats use this as justification not to listen to you anymore. The left killed the CEO of the healthcare, killed two Israeli ambassador staffers, attempted two assassination attempts on Donald Trump, dogs an attempt to murder federal ICE agents and police all week, and now this is a claim by her, right? No, we don't know for sure his political affiliation. As long as these kind of things keep happening, it's no surprising no one younger than 60 supports them. And many people are starting to see a pattern here. Oh no, Democrats slaves, what would they do? And this is something that I always talk about, how Democrats take advantage of illegals. Illegals are cheap labor. They know illegals don't have much like legal representation, or they're more prone and more vulnerable to getting taken advantage of. But the Democrats don't care because they themselves take advantage of illegal immigrants, and they feel like this is what they're here in this country to do. And I'm going to show you an example of how this liberal woman, this old liberal woman, kind of exposes that. Right? I think there's gonna be a lot of cursing in this one, so you've been warned. But hopefully, I'm able to bleep it out after I edit this video.
So I'm in my beautiful city, LA, and I have friends texting me like all morning. My gardener didn't show up. My housekeeper didn't show up. Oh, my farmer's market was closed. Everyone's scared. Well, this is not going to just happen in LA. And you 1%ers that only voted for Trump because of money? Guess what? You're going to have to do your own dishes, or clean your own house, or mow your own lawn. And oh, that wonderful produce, the organic produce you get for your brunches? All gone. Yeah, you're going to actually have to do some work around your house.
The way she acts, it kind of me wonders, like, when slavery was abolished in the United States of America, was this how Democratic slave owners reacted? Who's going to pick our cotton? Who's going to till the fields? Who's going to wait on my hand and feet? Right? And they talk about this too. Like, the reason why a lot of African Americans had so much skills is because of the fact that slave owners had slaves, it made them lazy and almost incompetent. They couldn't do anything. They didn't know how to do anything. They didn't know how to tend to their own fields. They didn't know the tools they had to use. Right? These people don't know. All they know how to do is administrate and manage. That sounds a lot like what? The government. Right? And this is funny, man. This is funny. And in this modern world, you hear, like, the parades, waste of money, right? And I'm talking about, and I'm looking at them like, we're about to spend, the Olympics is going to be in LA. I don't know why they put the Olympics in LA, but whatever. Not my decision. Don't care. They're going to spend $5.5 billion to prepare LA for the Olympics in 2028. No one's complaining about that. That's too much money. And stuff like this is what destroys, like, kind of the liberal echo chamber. President Trump jumped a mic drop by posting what Democrat Senator John Fetterman said about the U.S. The Army's historic 250 parade. Liberals can't stand this. Right? This parade is comprised of our daughters and mothers, our sons and daughters. Sorry, I don't know why I said daughters and mothers and fathers, and the very best of us. Regardless of your politics, it's appreciated to celebrate 250 years of sacrifice, dedication, and service. Right? Trump has been backfiring this stuff all, like, if you see another one, there's one I like the most before I really get into what I want to say. Here's the problem. Here's an impossible challenge for Democratic lawmakers. Ready? Here goes. Solve a problem. This is why I said Democrats, that you don't have anything to offer, right? Republicans are offering something. Hey, look, we're going to mass deport to lower down the amount of immigrants here. Hey, we're going to try to cut all these budgets to be more efficient with our spending so we can balance the budget as best as we can, given what we got, right? And that's why I told Republicans, yo, Republicans could run it for 10 years. All they have to do is execute. Any problem, you take the pick. It can be a little problem, it can be a big problem, but the idea is make yourself useful to the American people. That's it. That's the challenge. You guys, let me know in the comment section, you think if that's a challenge accepted from the Democratic Party, or you think they're going to continue doing their meaningless kind of protesting, right? And this is what I was talking about. The shooting at the No Kings protest in Utah was an active participant in the protest. No Kings is a domestic terrorist movement. Many people are saying that. Man, if the Army's $45 million parade price tag bother you, you're not going to like the LA Olympics at $5.5 billion in taxpayer support. But I guess folks are fine burning cash as long as it's on gold medals and not Gordons. I don't know how to say that. Gordons. I don't know. But end of the day, I wanted to bring this point home here with a quote that I read from Thomas Sowell, and it resonated with me here. The welfare state is not really about the welfare of the masses. It's about the ego of the elites, right? This is the No Kings protest that the Democrats love. They're trying to say Donald Trump is not a dictator. Donald Trump's this. I don't know. Right? They like to make all these assertions about Donald Trump, but the left worship the government, right? And I talk about how socialism is in effect a political monarchy, right? It is. Like, you got a certain class of individuals running the entire country, and you believe that their decisions should generally apply throughout all the states in the country. And this is one of the reasons why I want the Department of Education dismantled, because I don't think that kind of power should be in the hands of a city like Washington, D.C. that's run 90% by Democrats, and they're trying to push what they think is best for the country, and it doesn't have any results to really back up that statement. And this is some of the concerns many people have, and this is what concerns I honestly have. You got arguments out there that a lot of these protesters are paid, right? And here's a clip I wanted to kind of show before I go into further. I'm going to end my video here on this interview. Shout out to Nate Friedman. Nate Friedman. He did an interview with one of these protesters, and you're gonna see a lady come through and interrupt them. So I'm gonna play this for about 2 minutes, and then I'll wrap up with my final thoughts.
There are two parties. One is a party of Nazis and fascists. The other party may not be all Nazis put together.
And Nazis, what do you mean by Nazis?
Hitler's fascists, people who want to use groups against each other, who feel that they can put one group of people in concentration camps.
Do you feel like Republicans want to kill Jews?
Yes. They want to kill Jews. They want to kill black people. They want to kill brown.
Can I just ask your credentials and what you're
my name is Nate. I just have a YouTube channel.
Nate. So we don't know what side Nate is on.
Let him. I know, but I don't care.
Just so you know, I'm with a group that is just pointing out that there are some folks here who will take words and
let them do it. I don't care.
Let's have a conversation.
I don't care.
I'm just saying,
I don't give a shit. Let them deport me.
No.
Who cares about these?
People will cut.
These are cunts who have no fucking balls, and they will throw. Let them throw.
Shout out to Nate Friedman. I think that's how you say his name. Hopefully, I said it right. And he did some digging. Obviously, he found out this lady. She's been in multiple protests, multiple ones around the country. You get a little snippet of it here. Let me play a little video before I continue with my final thoughts.
Stop my interview is named Karen Shaw. She is a professional protester. I found her at almost 100 different protests. Let's look at her portfolio, shall we? Here's her outside Trump Tower saying TikTok time's up. Here's her saying ban guns, not drag. Amazing. This is her telling us that lies have consequences. She is also very passionate about abortion. Even in the video right now, she's just wearing a hat that says abortion on it. This is deranged behavior, by the way. I studied psychology in college, and I'm confident that I can diagnose this person as insane. Sometimes she gets less creative, though, and just holds a sign that says enough. Now, here I found her working with a different professional protester that I've exposed. This is Stuart Waldman. He was there when they raised the Palestinian.
So you get a sense of it. The left is just a party of no one but superficial actors, right? They try to make these things seem organic, right, and then just protests propping up all over the country, and everyone's asking who's paying them. I don't care who's paying them. All I know is that we have a problem in this country, right? And I joke around that liberal women are leading I talk about suicidal empathy, but many people are pointing this out. Not just me. They don't want balance. They want blind compassion at any cost. Let anyone in, accept every culture, tolerate every failure. You can't. It's unpractical to just let anyone in. It's impractical to leave your door unlocked and say, if someone needs food, they can just come into my house and take the food. I trust them. You can't have blind loyalty like that. You can't have blind compassion like that. And I think it's due to the fact that we have a lack of like masculinity involvement in the upraising of our children. Because I was thinking back today, like what it means to be a father. And essentially what it means to be a father is to prepare your kids for the world. Hey, the world's going to be harsh. The world's going to be tough. Hey, the world sometimes will be after you, but you have to be prepared to be able to deal with that. And I think that's what I think fathers essentially instill in their kids. And this is why a lot of kids, there's a tendency that if they're not raised with two parents in the household or not raised by a father, they tend to be chaotic, impulsive. And this is impulsive behavior. Prioritizing feelings over realities is an impulsive behavior. They rarely stop to ask what our system can actually handle. There's little no awareness of limits. Your father instilled this into you. Your rights end where others begin. You can't force someone else to comply with your ideas of reality. If you think you're a woman and everyone sees you as a man, it's not your right to force someone against their will to validate your opinion about yourself. Fathers teaches you that. Fathers teach you boundaries and limits. And fathers make you aware that some people will go through violence to defend their boundary. And that's the practicality we lost. This is why you see the left. This is why I said the left comes across overtly feminine. It's because the left don't understand that sometimes force is necessary to deal with unreasonable people. Keyword, unreasonable people. And the left thinks the use of force is not tolerated anywhere unless they do it. That's when it's tolerated. When they want to kill a CEO of an insurance company that they hate, that's when it's justified to use force. But God forbid you use force, even a light amount of force, to disperse protesters and the LA rioters out of a city. Oh, God forbid you do that. They'll call you the scapo. They'll call you a fascist government. And this is the kind of propaganda that I kind of want to speak against. Just emotional signaling dressed up as morality. That's exactly what it is. They have been taught that virtue means surrender, that they're spreading that message everywhere in schools, media, HR departments, and elections. But empathy without boundaries is not compassion. It is a collapse, aka it's chaos. If we don't defend our values, we will lose them. The biggest threat to Western civilization: Russia, China, Islam, white liberal women with liberal arts degrees. I agree. And the lady you saw from the clip, she looks like a liberal woman with a college degree. All I'm trying to make this video is a lot of the left have their priorities messed up. But I digress. Let me know your thoughts and perspective in the comments below. I'll be interested to hear what you have to say. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Please share this video if you're so inclined. It really does help me out in the algorithm. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.